Good afternoon and welcome to BizTech's Asian Midday Market Watch. It's the 26th of June and we have our regular Monday guest, Vishnu Varathan, Head of Economics and Strategy from Mizuho Bank, coming out to us from Singapore. Vishnu, as always, lovely to have you on the show.
It's always a pleasure to be here, Brian. Thanks for having me.
Now, Vishnu, before I get your insights, let's take a look at how the numbers stack up this Monday morning or, midday Monday. We start, however, with the cryptocurrency market. Bitcoin is above the 30,000 mark. It's at 30,246. It's down 2.1%. Ethereum is at 1,877. It's down 1.53%. Now, looking across the regional equity markets, we start close to home with you, Vishnu. The Straits Times Index is at 3,201.05. It's up 0.03%. We've got the KLCI, which is up 0.11%. Shanghai is down 0.87%. The ASX All Ordinaries is down 0.38%. The Nikkei is down 0.17%. The Hang Seng is down 0.33%. But rounding up the numbers, we got the Kospi, which is up 0.4%. Vishnu, your thoughts on market performance in the first half of the day?
It does look like markets are more cautious than not. To some extent, there's a bit of reckoning with just sizing up three big factors. I think the first is we've had softer global PMI numbers led by European manufacturing PMIs really in the red coming out. So that does give a bit of a pause on any bullish views in the markets as they assess recession risks in the Eurozone and beyond. Then the second factor behind that was Russia, the Russia headlines that came out over the weekend. Maybe not a coup per se, but the showdown between the paramilitary Wagner group and almost reaching Moscow in their march. Although that's de-escalated, it does bring to the surface, it forces to the surface issues around the stability within Russia's structure and any spillover risks that might amount from that. And finally, coming back from the Dragon Boat Festival and all last week, I think there's a bit of a reckoning on China expectations. In particular, hopes for stimulus are still being checked, if not outright disappointed. So on account of all these, I think markets are poised to be cautious, even when there are reasons to take gains on the back of catch-up gains against the performance of equities last week.
Vishnu, I want to take you up on the second point, which is the Russia story. The Russia story, obviously, besides the geopolitical impact, has spooked oil markets somewhat. Do you see that trend upwards for oil continuing?
At least in the very near term, there will continue to be, an upwardly skewed price risks in oil for two reasons. Insofar that this is, related to Russia directly, and despite the de-escalation, the questions are around whether any other warlords might try to attempt any positioning or posturing around Russia. That has got two outcomes, or that could influence, oil prices upwardly. One is in terms of production within Russia, in case there's a disruption within Russia. The other has got to do with the shipment of oil. If there is indeed any geopolitical conflict, then shipment also gets somewhat disrupted. So that disruption as well will lead to prices going higher. So on both counts, in the very near term, despite softer demand outlook, given the PMI numbers and China's stimulus disappointments, the geopolitics will seize attention first. It's only beyond that then you'll look for an equilibrium oil price once the lack of clarity over supply fades.
Now, final question, Vishnu. We're at the start of the week. What are some key data and events that we should look out for this week that could move markets?
Going into the end of the month and coming off, a whole slew of global central banks and the FOMC, Fed Chairman Powell's testimony to the Congress. I think now focus will there will be a bit of zooming out of policy space per se, and then there'll be a reassessment of policy risks colliding with sticky inflation. And so there could be some reckoning around various data points, none of which are really tier one. But getting into the end of the month, maybe PMIs will be in focus, and there'll be some questioning about recession risks. We also have the European Central Bank event at Sintra in Portugal, and I think some of the statements coming out of there could also be of particular concern. Closer to home, Vietnam is releasing a whole slew of numbers, including Q2 GDP on Thursday. There could be some disappointment there, and that would be more a reflection of, rather than new information, but it would be a reflection of the ongoing weakness in the global manufacturing sector. So these are things you want to watch out for those looking down under RBA's statement, and all would be also of some consequence. But overall, I think the big takeaway is that there's going to be more caution than not as geopolitics leans into growing recession risks. And I think that would be the main takeaway. The only difference would be in terms of outcomes, where it would have initially sunk a lot of the commodity prices, as we just discussed. Things like energy prices could be perversely much higher, only increasing pain points rather than alleviating them.
On that note, Vishnu, thank you very much for your insights. Thanks for coming on the show.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me, Brian.
Now, we've been speaking to Vishnu Varathan, Head of Economics and Strategy at Mizuho Bank, on BizTech's Asian Midday Market Watch. I'm Brian Fernandez. This video and podcast will be on our website, www.biztech.asia, as well as our syndication partners, TV stations, radio stations, and websites. Thanks a lot for tuning in.